welcome back to Cosmic Pathways. It's really lovely to see you all again. Today, we're going to be looking at numbers. Now, last week, we went through, or certainly Gail Carroll went through, really in detail about the elements, the earth, air, fire, and water. And this week, we're doing the mystical numbers. And as we said last week, if you have a good understanding of the elements and the numbers, then you're kind of really getting on there to doing a really spanking good reading for somebody. So we're going to start off with, do you want to say anything before we start, Gail? Are you okay? Should we just...
No, let's get cracking. I mean, for me, I use them loosely, and I will explain how I use them in a reading as we go on.
Yes.
But I think numerology is definitely your forte, so I'm going to let you lead this one, and let's see what comes out of it.
Okay, so we're going to start with the aces. That they carry the sacred number of one. And the aces, all of them in their own different suits, which we covered last week, what they all stand for, they cover new beginnings. That's really the essence of the number one. It's this sort of sense of something new coming, some opportunity can manifest. It's full of potential. So I don't know how you read the aces. And also, just before we go into that, they're ruled by the sun. The sun is the ego, the I. So it's very much linked to do with the how we, the sort of, I'm going to shine my light here. You know, it's got that kind of feel to it. So how do you read them?
Generally, when they show up in readings, it's always better if it's in context and next to something.
Of course.
But it will always be around something new that's around the person at that time. And we're going back to the elements. So we've got the 4 elements. If you want to show them, hold them up again, Sue.
Yeah, sure.
If that's okay with you. So if we look at the imagery upon each card, they're all obviously relevant to their elements as well. So with the Ace of Pentacles, we've got Earth. So and Ace of Wands, fire. Ace of Swords, air. Ace of Cups, water. So if we were looking at the Ace of Cups, for instance, showing up, it automatically, for me, register that something new emotionally is going to be happening, because
or creatively, maybe.
Yeah, emotionally or creatively. And again, it depends on the cards around it, absolutely. And with the Ace of Swords, you're looking at intellect and thinking, and perhaps a change in the way of thinking about something. So absolutely, the ace sets you off. And I think it's quite an easy one when it pitches up to remember. So if you're a newbie, I think an ace pitching up on a reading is quite easy to remember. It's the start of the journey. So we've got 1 to 10, haven't we? 1 is the beginning, or ace is the beginning. 10 is the completion of a cycle.
Yes.
And then, we hit the halfway mark at 5, which is change. So 1 to 5 is building up to some kind of change, and then 6 to 10 is the completion of that journey within that.
Yes, or some kind of learning.
Yes,
I think that the 5 brings that learning, but we'll talk about the 5 in a sec.
Yes.
So the next lot are the 2s. So again, each one has its own suit, and for me, the 2s are always about, because it's always with 2 in it. It's the one, the primeval pure energy of one, of the ace, sort of split into 2 opposites. So it is about how do we balance things, or how do opposites attract each other, or maybe it's decisions to be made, or something like that. So I always think, in fact, actually, the decision, this card is always, for me, a decision has to be made. This is air. And then we have this sort of the desire to expand our horizons, or to become more creative, or we've got ideas going on. And then we've got the the coins here, and this is all about balancing to do with the material world. It could be money, it could be possessions, but there is this sense there's always two. And this, I love this card because it's got the card of infinity. It's been balanced in the number 8 of infinity. I love that card. And
I was just going to say with the Two of Pentacles as well. I always feel, just literally because of the imagery, that it's juggling. That it's about, when it shows up in a reading for me, it's often a juggle, that somebody's trying to juggle something. It's not just about balancing, it's about the challenge of juggling that balance. And and
that's what we all have to do in life. We're always juggling. We're always having to work the best way out, or can I do this and that, and what does that mean? So yes, it's a very poignant card. And then finally we have this, it's the male and the female, within the context of relationship. I mean, obviously there's lots of different forms of relationships these days, but this really does sort of bringing the two together. And you, when you go into a relationship, there is a lot of juggling that goes on. There's a lot of decision making that goes on. There's a lot of, can I commit to this, can't I commit to this, and all of the emotional stuff that goes on when you meet somebody. But also in this card, I always think there's a sort of sense of, I love this card because I feel like there's a bit of luck being chucked in here too. Fate is playing its hand, how it brings people together.
Yes. Now, going back to the Two of Wands momentarily, when this card shows up for me, have you got it there?
Yes, I have the Two of Wands. Yeah.
To me, I always call this my itchy feet card, because I don't know why.
Yes.
It reminds me that I mean, they're looking out to horizons. It could mean travel, it could mean creativity. But for me, it's almost like an itch of energy that you need to scratch.
It's a far horizons. I want to think out away from here. I'm dreaming, or I want to have those ideas.
A little bit of unrest, restlessness, itchy feet.
Yeah. So the three, sadly, I have lost my Three of Wands.
Oh.
Sadly. But so I've just got these, well, fun enough, these three cards. Now the three is really interesting because it's the 1 and 2 have to come together to create three. So it's always, for me, it's about creativity, and it's ruled by Jupiter. It's about thinking out of the box, expansion, adopting a new viewpoint. It's got that really sense of, it's always, I think it's also, it's there you go, there he is. It's sort of turning that dream into a tangible reality, or the three here, the Three of Cups, is always so joyous. And then here we have somebody being celebrated for their creativity, what they do. And yes, this is an odd card. This is a dodgy card, can be, but you have to understand a broken heart before you can really learn to love. So again, there's this massive teaching, this creative process that we're constantly going through, which is about learning about ourselves. So it may be pain in the short run, but in the long run, we learn about love, and that's what we're all here to do.
Yeah.
So on with the so we're going to go on with the fours.
So fours for me are all about stability.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, when you look at a table, it's got 4 legs.
Definitely.
So,
yes.
Just as a metaphor, really, it's just that we're going through the numbers, aren't we? And we're slowly getting towards 5 of change. And so at 4, that we're starting, maybe when it comes to 4s, the challenge with a 4 can also mean that you can get stuck.
Yes, it is about the material plane. That is absolutely true. So we've got mind, body, spirit together, but it's manifested in the material plane. So absolutely, there's something you're being invited to ground something or enjoy something tangible. Yes, absolutely. So I think this is this is a lovely card. Traditionally, 4 is associated with Uranus, but for me, as an astrologer, I would put Saturn as its ruling planet.
And why is that?
Uranus, because Saturn is about stability and the material manifestation. So I've always had a problem with that. But
Yeah.
if a 4 comes up, it is about looking at what is manifesting, what is being offered, but it's in the material plane. Yeah. Okie dokie. So here we have our building up to the lovely 5s. So, gosh, yes, these cards represent in uncertainty, instability, conflict, perhaps feeling you're missing out or you've missed out or something like that. So it's the sense of adversity here. Because 5 is ruled by Mercury. Mercury's the messenger. So I would always say, well, what's the message going on for you? What is this uncertainty, this change, this maybe scratchy conflict? What's it trying to tell you? What changes do you need to make? So it's about taking back your power around change rather than it happening to you. You can actually understand, oh, this is happening in my life because I need to pay attention.
And then if you take the element of each of them, you can then use the elemental knowledge that we gave from the last talk we did and apply that, exactly what you just said, to that maybe it's a change around the heart, around emotions, or intellectually with the swords, the changing the way of thinking or doing something. And often when it turns up in a reading, it's that message of, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're gonna get what you've
change. We have to change to evolve. We need to change.
And letting go.
And it teaches us to let go.
Yeah.
And if we don't willingly let go, guess what? The world makes us let go, and that's much more painful. So it is about that. And I think when 5s come up in the reading, I'm always, just really encourage the person to pay attention to what is manifesting in their life to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, number 6 is, here we go. So we have the number 6s there. So for me, I love the number 6 because it's ruled by Venus, and Venus wants the best for us. She wants us to have a peaceful, harmonious time, and she brings love into our life and sharing and values and self-worth and all those yummy stuff. So that for me, it's about equilibrium and harmony and balance. But we have to persevere to be able to walk into that. We have to be able to have manifested that change, and then the gift comes after the change, and then we start to go, yes, I realize I am going to go on that trip, or I am going to share myself more, or I want to have a sort of a calmer life, or yes, I can feel triumphant that I did really well going through that change. So it's an upliftment. It's a heart-opening experience. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just the one word I always associate with 6 is a perseverance. That it's sometimes, I think, when we go through a period of change and then shortly after, you tend to get a bit impatient, that you want things to change quickly often. And when 6 shows up, it's like, persevere, on the right track, keep going.
Yes. And maybe take that moment to say, God, I did really well. I'm doing good. Exactly. I'm going to have a bit of a rev. I might go and have a holiday, or just take the foot off the pedal.
Yes.
It's got that feeling. Yeah. Okay, we've got the 7s, 2, 3. Here we go. So how do you read the 7s?
Sevens are for me about experience,
Yes, yes.
and
Uh,
so going back through the suit, it's about reflecting. If you look, I mean, absolutely, the Seven of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles are very much about standing and reflecting on the experience gathered to date. In the case of the Pentacles, often it's looking at your money tree and looking at the experience that you've had so far, and is it enough? Is it enough for what you want to do going forwards? Again, it's got to be in
yes.
context of other cards.
Well,
Um,
I call it quite a spiritual card for me. It's because it's ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is this sort of the higher self coming in. I think when we need, when you kind of get that feeling, I mustn't go walk down that road.
yeah,
No, it just doesn't feel this room doesn't feel right, or doing that doesn't feel right. And I feel that when the seven shows up, it is that sense of I'm on the right path. It's going to be a struggle. There's that one, but it's okay. Or do you know what? I'm going to take a bit of a time, retreat, and just honor where my path has taken me. Do you know what? I'm not going to fight this one. I'm just going to be a little bit wiser and take my time about making decisions. And this one is, actually, what do I want to do? And this intuition comes through.
definitely.
Anything else you want to say about that?
Well, with the Seven of Swords, I always feel it's pick your battles wisely, but then I feel that's true of any battle, really, is to pick them wisely. But again, he's looking over his shoulder, isn't he?
Yeah,
Perhaps at
yeah,
something and carrying stuff with him. So
yeah.
I think it's, again, looking at the word experience, it's about understanding what to take with you on the journey.
I always use brain, not brawn.
Yes,
Just be careful.
exactly.
Yeah. Just listen to your intuition. That will show you your way forward. Don't charge in like a bull. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes. The seven traditionally in esoteric teachings is the most spiritual number there is. So I always look at the more spiritual implications of the seven.
yeah,
You know, what is your highest learning here? What is your intuition teaching you or showing you? And then often when people speak it out loud, they go, "Do you know, I've been thinking that for ages." Mm.
yeah.
So we're now on the number 8. Ooh, can you see that? Yeah. So we're now just we're now on the number 8. So for me, the number 8's actually, it's a sort of sense for me is about regeneration. It's kind of making we have to move forward, to complete something. We're always being invited to uh, uh, to make way for something, to rid ourselves of something before we can do that. And I think these are cards that new people can come into our life to say, do you know, it's this way. Or we may feel really stuck and thinking, I don't know which way to go, but hang in there because the answer will come. Or you've got to leave whatever it is behind. You just know. People go, you're mad to do that, but you just go, I have to. I just know it's the time. I need a new path. And this one is really about a sort of really understanding what your skill set is. So again, eight's a very earth number as well, and 8 on its side is the number of infinity. So it's a 8 is associated with wisdom, and as we near our journey, boy, have we learned from wisdom. If you think of the journey from the ace, from
Yes.
the unknown, yeah. And anything you want to say about that?
Just for me, when it turns up in a reading, it generally signals obstacles, but it's not a bad thing. It's exactly how you've just explained it. It's more that be resolute as to, because you're nearing the end, you're getting towards 10. completion, and,
Yes.
and obstacles might show up, and like you say, people might say this, or things might happen to kind of rock your path. You think you're on this great path. If your intuition is telling you you are. So eight show up to just make sure that you own whatever it is that's taking you to the completion of that cycle.
Yeah. And again, esoterically, it's associated with Saturn. So, and I always associate 4 with Saturn as well, rather than Uranus. So, there is this sense of grounding, of this is getting very real now, because I am getting towards
Yeah,
the end, and I want to make sure I do it well.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there
Okay.
might be a little bit of second guessing or
Yeah.
questioning yourself. But again, this is where your intuition is so important. Your
Absolutely.
intuition is always correct. We just tend
Always.
to turn it off a bit sometimes because the ego or mind steps in to try and turn it off for us.
Yeah, and I think when you're coming towards the end of something, always watch the people who are coming into your life, because they will have a message for you in some form, whether you want that form or you don't. So they will guide you
Yeah.
in and you can say, do you know what? That's great. I don't want to do that anymore. Thank you very much. Or,
Mm.
do you know what? That's that. I do want to do that, and thank you for coming into my life to show me that. Yeah. So the nines, so
Yeah.
we've got the nines here. For me, the nines are it's the penultimate action
Yes.
before completion. So this one's always an interesting card for me,
Yeah.
because for me it is the card of grief. But if you see, the really important thing about this is the swords are not going through the person.
Yeah.
They're going behind them. So there is fears to be addressed, which may be imagined.
Yes.
I don't know how you read that.
I tend to read it because it's a night. To me, it's night time, and it's again they're in bed, and it's those things that keep you awake at night.
Yeah.
You're so near the completion of this process at 10 that again it might be self-doubt, doubts about whatever it is that
Yeah.
is completing. And it's just like you say, it's penultimate. It's a final reminder that you're nearly there. Stay with it, you
Yeah.
know. And because it's air, because it's swords, it's an intellect thing, and we know how our minds will step in and play tricks and try and question stuff.
Yeah.
So with that particular card, definitely.
Yeah, and and fear is part of the journey, and I think the nearer we get to completion, the more fearful we get,
Of
and
course,
so,
because it change.
absolutely, because 10 is change, ultimate change. It's a new path. So yes, this will always come up during the journey to say, and what fears are you experiencing right now? Are you doubting yourself? That's perfectly natural to have doubt on the journey. Of course it is, because you have to keep testing yourself. Is this true or isn't it? Absolutely.
We have a tendency to overthink as human beings.
Yeah. And the other three, I love this card, because I feel this is my card. For me, my journey has been extremely tough, and I love the idea of standing on the other side of the toughness, with a bandage around my head.
Yeah,
Going,
just think,
blimey, that was some journey. So there is that feel to it, that what the hell was that about? And
yeah,
then being able to move on from that. And the other two are lovely, because it is just a celebration. My God, I've come this far and I've done it. It's got that feel to it. And we never celebrate ourselves. We celebrate other people, but we never celebrate ourselves. And it's inviting you to take a breath and just go, do you know what? I've made it. I've made it. I've done this journey, because nobody else has done it but you. And then you've got this lovely one, which is, do you know what? You deserve to have some fun now, or just go and have an holiday. Take some time off.
You've mentioned holiday twice so far. I'm feeling that you're wanting to yourself to go off on warmer climes soon.
But it has got that feeling, hasn't it, though, those nines?
Yeah, definitely.
And you've
Yeah, of
got to be able to take the breath before you can enjoy the ending.
course you have. And
Yeah,
it's like you say, it's fun, and also to me, it means progression. You're progressing.
yeah. And then what a journey, eh? We've come to
Woo!
the,
And
we've made it. It is the end. And
yes,
when this one comes up, that it's not people say, oh, it's death. Well, it might be, but it's death of something that isn't you don't
yes,
need anymore. It could be the death of a relationship that's been very, very destructive for you. It could be the death of part of you that just doesn't serve you anymore. That those the self-criticism, or there's a new dawn out there. There is a willingness to engage in newness.
yeah.
I always think this is a card of absolute hopes and dreams, even though it's dark. The dark is there.
And to me, it symbolises, look at all the burdens that you've taken on
Yes,
your back to
yes,
get to this point, to get to this completion. It's over now. You've
yes,
taken all those burdens,
yeah.
and you can let go. It's 10. You can let go. It's done.
It's done. And I always think the tens are ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. And become authentic, you have to walk the fire. You have to go into the underworld with Pluto. And Pluto is all about death and rebirth.
Yeah.
Death and rebirth. And that follows us all our life. And I mean, this one is just the most lovely card when it comes up, especially in the last position, because you think this
Yeah.
is just desserts now. Often comes up when somebody's getting married, or they're going to meet somebody, pregnancy, but just joy,
Happy ending. I mean,
happy ending, or happy beginnings. Actually,
happy ending, because
yeah,
then
yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
start a new cycle again, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. And then this one is, oh, I'm putting down, I don't need to do that rubbish anymore. I don't need to be everybody's carer. I don't need to constantly be burdening myself with the responsibilities of the world. I'm going to put that lot down. But, that's the end. That's how I read this card. How do you read it?
Oh, I do too. It's that, hard work again, but energetically it's fire. So
Yeah,
energetically it's, you know, time now to take a big deep breath again and let go. All the tens to me are
yes,
completion and let
yeah, absolutely. And then the last 10 is this one, which for me is always abundance.
go.
This,
Pentacles,
yeah,
security.
it's
Well,
financial, yeah, it's security, whatever
however
happens.
that looks and feels to you, it's that's yeah.
Yeah,
It's security is different for all of us. Financial,
absolutely. Yeah, but
yeah.
it's again, it is the material
Yes,
plane.
it
So
does.
yeah, or being more secure, or having a
Yeah.
better relationship with perhaps with money, because we get obsessed with money, and that's not healthy for us. So next week, do you want to talk about what we're going to be talking about next week?
We are going to look at the royals, and I think where the royals are concerned, a lot of people, and we've had comments, haven't we, on our YouTube channel that below the post, that it is one of those things that one of the areas of the cards that people get, they can kind of with the major arcana and they kind of get the minor, but there's the royals that sit in between. And I think
Yeah,
it's because with the royals, there's two things going on. You've got the elements, again, you've got your four suited elements, but you've also got their rank. So we're going to marry the
yeah,
rank with the elements, and
yes,
we're going to see what message that they bring to us with the cards next
absolutely.
time.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we close about either the elements that we did last week or the numbers this week?
I don't think so. Oh, what I would like to say is if people have got questions, then we can always address them at the beginning of one of our talks, or we can message them directly. But yes, I did notice that one about the royals, and that they were looking forward to it because they are a challenge. So, and again, if there's a subject that somebody wants us to tackle,
we're here. Absolutely.
we don't mind carrying on.
Yep. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps to spread the wisdom of tarot and astrology. And that's what my Celebrating Astrology channel is all about. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.